Well, hey, it's Friday the 13th. It's 9:10 a.m. How y'all doing out there? This is Jack, and as y'all know, I've done a couple videos with Abandoned Exploration Adventure. I want you to know that I really enjoy doing that. The nature videos, the going through the parks and the woods and the outdoors is still my first love, but I have always had an interest in the unknown, I guess the legends and folklore. All the stories you hear when you're growing up. Shoot, I'm even a fan of B movies. I've been doing some research online and I happened to come across on Dead Ohio website a story. The title of the article is Jerry City House. Now I want you to know I was raised in Jerry City. I know that town inside and out, the easements, the back alleys, even the ones that aren't marked. And I've also been up and down Jerry City Road from one end of the county to the other. What I've got is this article that just totally floored me. Now, this is the first time that I've seen it, so bear with me. I'm going to do this from quote to quote. Here goes. As of 11 August 2005, a wicked red-eyed farmer's ghost is said to still guard some alleged grisly killings. This anonymous reader tells more. There's a spooky house on Jerry City Road by Wayne. The home is said to be haunted by a crazed father, his two children, wife, and dog. One night the man came home. No one knows what set him off, but he killed his two children, wife, and his dog. After the job was finished, he went out to an old barn and hung himself. It has been said that a man moved in there shortly after this happened with horses. After a long day of moving in, he decided to go to bed. The next morning, he woke up refreshed and ready to go. He went out to the barn the man killed himself in, to feed the horses, and they were all dead. I have heard from people that shortly after that man moved out, a father, his wife, and children moved into the house. With both children being young, he had them go to bed early. Well, that same night, the younger brother, who wasn't very old, beat the crap out of his little sister for no apparent reason. To this day, his sister swears that as he committed this horrible crime, his eyes were blood red and glowing. Not only that, but later when they got older, the brother decided to smoke upstairs in his room. He just happened to sleep in one of the children's rooms. He says that he lit the cigarette and was then thrown out the window by something that grabbed him by the shirt. There have also been times when friends of mine have gone to the house, saw red eyes in the upstairs window. They soon shot down to the bottom, then the top, then back down to the bottom, then back up to the top. The next thing they know, the window shatters. Just a little side note here, folks. I'm still quoting. These are not friends of mine. Anyway, they all run to the car and start it, but to their surprise, the car won't move. They are in a stone driveway, it hasn't rained, and they weren't stuck in a hole, anything. Hole. W-H-O-L-E. Okay. After about an hour of pushing, they finally get it out and leave. A few years later, they go back and they see some pretty weird things, such as a woman in a white nightgown walking around the downstairs. Keep in mind, this home is abandoned. Red eyes in a window. A lamp that was once standing is now tipped over. A door that was once closed is now wide open. And there's a woman sitting in a rocking chair in the corner of the room. Then as we leave, a wire that is across the driveway to keep people out of there is now waving back and forth rapidly, but the weeds below and around it are standing still as ever before. A coincidence? I think not. Was someone trying to scare us, or was there really something there? Was there really a man that killed his whole family and himself haunting the house, or is that just a legend to keep people away from the house? You decide. End quote. Okay, folks, a couple things here. As I said, I was raised in Jerry City. Growing up, you hear all the tales to keep you out of the cemetery at night, which is, of course, after sundown, against the law. I've heard them all. The length of Jerry City Road, I know almost every house in my mind. I've got a pretty good idea where this one is, and believe me, I will be taking a drive out there to check it out, if it's there at all. There's, if you get scared out of a place, you want to go back. I understand the curiosity of wanting to go back. I don't know if it's bravery, but if you go back to a place a few years later, you've got to go in with the idea that you weren't the only one there. somebody with a little more fortitude, probably in there, a bunch of kids could have partied, kicked the door in, knocked over the lamp, and as far as seeing things, that could just be an imagination. Now, what I do find strikingly a coincidence is this story about the man killing his wife and his children is almost identical to the scenario that happened, or the story of the Potter House murders. Man goes nuts, kills his wife and his kids. The man in Jerry City House, he went one step further and killed the dog. So, but you know, these two houses are within 20 miles of one another, and I just find this too much of a coincidence to be true. I don't know if any of it's true. I personally have not had any supernatural or paranormal experiences, at least none that I would recognize as such. But I'm not going to say anybody who does believe this, I'm not going to tell them they're wrong. But I will tell you this, as far as the Potter House goes, there has been many articles written, there have been stories in books. It's been pretty well documented about the paranormal activity on that property. But I will also tell you this, and this is your warning. Those of you who are listening to this, if you decide to look up where the Potter House was, that property, I know the person that owns that property. You get caught, he will prosecute you, and probably with prejudice. Don't step on the property. It'll be your liability, it'll be your cost, it'll be your fault. Stay away. There has been one interview granted to investigators. They didn't get a whole lot out of this guy. He may not particularly believe the stories himself. He doesn't want the place known, and he doesn't want his property trampled by curiosity seekers, thrill seekers, or just plain trespassers. You go on there without permission, you break the law, you will be prosecuted. End of story there. So, as far as this goes, a lot of similarities in the stories. I personally kind of chuckle at this one. If you could look it up, it's on Dead Ohio. They got a whole lot of different stories there. Hatchet Man Cemetery, Abbeville, Crybaby Bridge, and Satanic Church. As a matter of fact, I live less than a mile away from Crybaby Lane. You make up your own mind. This is Jax. Happy Friday the 13th. Later.